I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, June the 23rd, 2016. Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas addressed the European Parliament today in Brussels, one day after remarks made there from Israeli President Reuven Rivlin. In his statements today, Abbas accused Israel of turning the Palestinian Authority into a, quote, open-air prison. He also claimed Israel was ignoring international law and said there must be full Israeli withdrawal from the PA in order to achieve peace. He also claimed that Israel's presence in the West Bank was to blame for terrorism. Abbas said once the occupation ends, terrorism will disappear. There will be no more terrorism in the Middle East or anywhere else in the world. Abbas also rejected any form of temporary or interim peace agreement with Israel, which he called a waste of time. The PA leader restated the Palestinian position for a two-state solution based on the 1967 borders, with East Jerusalem as its capital, a plan based on the Arab Initiative of 2002 with no changes. Yesterday, in Rivlin's address to the European Parliament, the Israeli president said that effective Palestinian leadership was needed in order to achieve peace, noting the long-time division between the PA that rules the West Bank and terror group Hamas, which rules Gaza and who is committed to Israel's destruction. Rivlin said Israel was dedicated to peace, even at the price of taking complex security risks. But he said Palestinian effort was vital if peace was to be achieved. Earlier this week, we reported to you that President of the European Parliament, Martin Schulz, tried to arrange a meeting between Abbas and Rivlin while the two leaders are in Brussels this week. Rivlin agreed to the sit-down, however, Abbas rejected the invitation. And later today, after meeting with EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini, Rivlin said he found it strange that Abbas, whom he called his friend, refused once again to meet with Israeli leaders, and that Abbas chooses rather to turn to the support of the international community. Rivlin called Israel's conflict with the Palestinians a great tragedy. He said it is our responsibility and our will to build bridges of trust between the two peoples. Even if we cannot reach a lasting agreement at this moment, he said we must be active and build more trust between all sides. He said direct talks is the only possible way to build trust, and there are no shortcuts nor detours in the Middle East. Mogherini, who met earlier with Abbas, said after the meeting with Rivlin today that the EU is working day and night with the Quartet of Mideast negotiators, namely the United Nations, the US, the EU, and Russia, with Arab countries and with the Israelis and Palestinians to kickstart peace talks. She said, "We are convinced that we can be friends of Israel and friends of Palestine, and this allows us to build bridges." U.S. Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security Alejandro Mayorkas concluded a three-day trip to Israel today. Mayorkas spoke at the 6th Annual International Cybersecurity Conference held in Tel Aviv this week, where he stressed the commitment of the U.S. and Israel to collaborate and share information on cybersecurity and other homeland security-related issues. JewishPress co-founder Albert Klaas has died. Orthodox Jewish news site Voces Nayes reported that Klaas died over the weekend at his home in Flatbush, Brooklyn, and was laid to rest Sunday at the Mount Zion Cemetery in Queens. Klaas co-founded the publication with his brother, Rabbi Shalom Klaas, in 1960. Klaas is survived by 2 sons, a sister, 7 grandchildren, and 28 great-grandchildren. He was 105 years old. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu presented the Genesis Prize this evening in Jerusalem to renowned violinist Itzhak Perlman. Perlman was recognized with the honor for his exceptional contributions as a musician, a teacher, and an advocate for people with disabilities. Perlman has said that he will donate the $1 million prize money to music education and helping those with special needs. The Genesis Prize was created in 2014 by the Genesis Philanthropy Group in partnership with the Israeli government and the Jewish Agency to honor, quote, exceptional people whose values and achievements will inspire the next generations of Jews. And taking a look now at our programming for tonight here on JBS for Thursday, June the 23rd. At 7 o'clock, it's Dimensions of the Daf with Rabbi Mordechai Becker. At 7:30, Executive Director of the American Jewish Committee, David Harris, addresses its global forum. At 8 o'clock, Rabbi Schneier discusses interfaith landmarks. And at 9, a panel discussion on Palestinian terrorism with the AJC's Stephen Boehm, former Union for Reform Judaism President Eric Yaffe, the World Jewish Congress's Betty Ehrenberg, and NYU professor Thane Rosenbaum, together with Mark Golub. And at 10 tonight, Washington Bureau Chief of the Jewish Forward, Nathan Gutman, talks about the Netanyahu-Obama relationship. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, in the news, where Mark Golub is joined by Mordechai Levovitz, who is Executive Director of Jewish Queer Youth, a resource and counseling center for Orthodox LGBT youth. He talks about the way in which young people in the LGBT community have responded to the terrorist murders in Orlando, Florida earlier this month. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, June the 23rd. I'm Teisha Bader. I am off tomorrow, Friday, but I will be back with the news update on Monday. Wishing you a Shabbat Shalom.